Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I have been personally challenged today by our CEO, Joel Santiago of Volishon, to do a video for 30 days in a row to try to add value, um, inspire, add value, whatever I feel that maybe I have to contribute to anybody in my timeline, any of my friends, any of my family, anybody who interacts with me on a daily basis on Facebook, anybody who I'm in business with, in personal relationships with. So here it goes. Okay, so thanks a lot, Joel Santiago, for calling me out and getting me out of my comfort zone, because I do understand that there is no growth in our comfort zone. So with that being said, I have to say the one thing that I would love to talk to everybody about today is to truly understand your why. People may say, what do you mean by your why? Why for me stands for, and what I've learned in the industry through my years of experience and going to events and taking notes and learning from people who have things that I want, have a lifestyle of freedom and time freedom and financial freedom that I want. They talk about your why, what hurts you. Why stands for what hurts you. So only you can get clear with what your why is. I know what my why is, okay? And that's my reason why is the exact reason why I don't tap out. It's why I don't give up, no matter what adversities I go through, no matter what challenges come my way, no matter what circumstance or situation may arise in my personal life. I have to be clear on my why. Now, my huge why, my biggest why is my children, my daughter Alishani and my son Akila. I'm responsible for them. I helped bring them into this beautiful world. I'm their mother for life, not just till they're 18. My daughter's 21. So not only am I her mother now, but I'm her best friend now as well. I'm there for her through thick and thin. I'm there for her to help guide her, to help inspire her, to help encourage her, to be the best Alishani she can be, you know? And same with my son. So going back to my whys. My journey so far has been not always roses. It hasn't always been easy. Have there been times I wanted to give up? No. Have I gone through a lot of hard times? Yeah, I have. I still have stuff going on in my life right now that if I wasn't strong in my belief system and my knowing inside what my why is, then I would be quick to tap out. But because I'm clear with my why, because I know what my purpose is, I know what drives me, I know that I have two beautiful children, amazing souls that count on me to be there for them, that count on me to make my wrongs right. When I say my wrongs right, I mean like I've made bad decisions, you know. I put myself in situations where my livelihood was compromised due to trusting other people. And that was recent in my life, you know. That wasn't too long ago. And I could have easily felt sorry for myself. I could have easily tapped out. I could have easily used all those excuses for my circumstance and my situation to be the detriment of me, you know, to put out my fire. But my fire cannot be put out. I have an internal, fuel-driven, passion-driven fire within me that nobody can put out, you know. My stride may be broken at times in life, but my spirit can never be broken, okay? So that's one thing that I know within my own soul, my own spirit, first and foremost. You know, I am a visionary. I'm a long-term visionary. So that means I can see through my circumstance and my situation, no matter what I'm going through, and see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know. Have the hallways been long, you know? Yeah, sometimes the hallways are a bitch, you know. Sometimes they are. That's just the facts of life, you know. That's just reality. Sometimes we don't realize what we're made of until we get through something, you know. But we have to be so certain in knowing what hurts you, what hurts me, what drives me, who depends on me to be that rock in their life, you know. And not too long ago, I let one of those whys down. I did. I did. It's hard to talk about. I get emotional when I talk about it because it was my son. It was my son. It wasn't intentional. It was actually, in all honesty, like I thought I was doing the right thing, you know. I have to back up a little bit, you know. I used to be a bartender. I was in the restaurant industry basically my whole life. Besides, I was a grease monkey for a little bit in Hawaii years ago. I torqued some wrenches underneath the hoods of cars a long time ago. But they wouldn't take me seriously, you know. So I figured if I'm going to deal with people who, in an environment where men don't take women seriously and can't appreciate that a woman actually wants to know what's going on underneath the hood of a car and wants to learn more. He was just flirting all the time. And I was like, man, I can't deal with this. If I'm going to deal with that, I'm going to get tips, you know? So, hey, that's just the bottom line. That's where it was. And I knew I'm a social person, so my social skills could make me money and take care of my bills and stuff in the restaurant industry. So basically all of my life, I've been in the restaurant industry. Because I'm very social, I always made really good money doing that, you know? I started my entrepreneurship in the industry in 1995 with one of my mentors who's phenomenal. Her name is Paulette Shima Bakuru. She is one of the most beast boss ladies I could ever look up to. So I've been very blessed with having mentors in my life where I see that they don't use excuses. They don't allow excuses in their life, their situation, to determine their future. So that was my first intro into the industry, if you will, in 1995 when my daughter was a baby in Jewelway. But that company went under. You know, the FTC shut them down. And so I went back to waitressing. You know, I had to pay bills, you know. So at that point, I just wasn't ready to keep pursuing it, you know. I just, you know, was providing for my daughter. But in in 2011, I had been bartending at a bar for almost 5 years, and I tore my RCL tendon while at work. I'm pretty tough. I can handle pain, you know, physical pain and stuff like that I endure. And so I didn't really understand what had happened. I just knew it hurt really bad in my arm, and I finally went to the doctors, and because of workers' comp and how they treat you in that system, you're just like on a conveyor belt, you know. You're just another number. You're not, they don't know that the value of who I am like I know the value of who I am. So I was in that system for a while, you know. I couldn't bartend after a while. So I had to dig deep. But see, that was a blessing in disguise, because that brought me right back to this industry where my heart and soul belongs. Because I'm not one to just be another number. I'm not one to follow a system where I'm going to be working for somebody else's dream for the rest of my life. You know, I have dreams that I want to fulfill. I have people's lives that I want to help enrich, you know. And I'm not doing that sitting behind a bar pouring drinks for people. You know, although I was not just a bartender, I was not just a drink pourer. Let's get that straight right now. I was a tender. You know, I have skills with being able to relate to people from all walks of life because of what I've been through in life. So my experience helped me to truly be a tender to those who were coming to a bar because their life wasn't good, or because that's their choice to drown their sorrows, or they're coming for a good time. You know, I had all kinds of different customers, you know, who became family to me. You know, I truly care about every single customer that I had in those bars that I worked at, you know. But with that being said, what was my point in this? I'm so sorry. I get sidetracked. But you'll get used to that in these 30 days when I do videos. People who know me know that I do get sidetracked, and I do go off on a tangent because I'm passionate about things, you know. So after I hurt my arm, I had to dig deep, and I went back into the industry, you know. The first company I went back into, full-fledged, where I was actually like in the company for us. I've done many different things because I am optimistic, and I do look for something other than just a 9-to-5. You know, I love the fact that I could write my own paycheck if my footwork pays forward and I'm taking a business seriously. I love that opportunity in this industry, you know. But during that time, I was about building myself. I had to work on me because I was hurting, you know, dealing with not being able to provide for my family the way that I was used to doing so. So, you know, I make good money working 2 days, 2 nights a week, bartending, you know. I was able to provide for my children, not getting child support at that time, you know. 2 children, a truck payment, roof over our head, food, everything, you know. So when I hurt my arm, there went my ability to provide for my family. So I was forced to think outside of the box and get back into the industry where I belong anyways, you know. So it was a blessing in disguise, right? So, and through that process, I learned so much by going to so many different trainings and learning from people who had a lot of value to add. And I was taking notes and I was working on me. I wasn't working the business. I was working on me because that's what I have to work on first and foremost, right? So it was a process, you know, and during that time, I still was going through the conveyor belt of the workers' compensation system where I didn't get the necessary procedures to take care of and see what was wrong to ascertain what's going on with my body. They just did x-rays, and I'm like, I didn't fall and break nothing. This is internally, you know. I need an MRI, and because you're just another number to them, they don't care, right? So my situation during that time, it was hard, you know. Honestly, it was hard. It was hard. But I'm tougher. You know, it may have been tough, but I'm tougher. And I didn't allow that to take me down. I used that time to work on myself, personal growth and development, learn from people who have value to add to my life. You know, I started looking at people in a sense of either you're an asset or you're a liability. If you're an asset, that means that you're adding value to my life. If you're a liability, that means you're just taking, right? So during that process of understanding how to ascertain the type of people I allow in my circle, in my family, and give my time to, and my heart to, and my friendship to, my loyalty to, I realized even though I thought some of them were an asset, I wasn't listening to my intuition. So coming back to how I let down my son, you know, we had a home in Orchid for a little bit. During that time, I was in Wake Up Now, and I was planning on utilizing Thunder. You know, I was going to take Thunder because I have the bar industry beat. I know a lot of people in the bar industry, so I knew that I could take Thunder and take over Red Bull in different bars and stuff like that, right? So I had also, previous to that, had trusted somebody who I did a third-party investment with for real estate. Now, I'd never done that before, but this person portrayed herself to be somebody who was actually trying to add value into my life. She portrayed herself as somebody who I could trust. And I not only invested my money, but my time. And time is the most precious commodity that we have because it's irreplaceable. You cannot replace time. You can replace money. You can replace material possessions. You cannot replace time, you know? So with that being said, you know, I invested a lot of time with this woman before I had moved to Orchid with my son and my 2 dogs. And so during that time, I invested quite a bit of money. And for me, I was feeling like I was on the right track. I had a good amount of money in my bank account. I felt like, you know, regardless of the fact that I can't bartend right now, I have an opportunity to invest properly, you know. So I trusted people that I thought had my back, you know. I trusted people who seemed like they were on the up and up in a business sense, you know. And so I just basically trusted the wrong people. You know, I screwed myself. I screwed my son. I let down my son, my wife. And that hurts. That hurts. It hurts to my heart, you know. But I know it's only temporary because I am a visionary. I can see through the bullshit. I can see through the circumstance and situation that I'm in. I can look beyond it, you know. I can take that lesson, be accountable for my choices, because I can't just blame her. Even though she's a shady, shysty, scheming on many people, not just me, on many people, and taking their kindness and their trust for granted and their livelihood for granted, I wasn't the only person, you know. And I didn't find out till after I moved that I got screwed. That not only did Wake Up Now go under, so I no longer had that opportunity to market Thunder in bars and restaurants anymore, or liquor stores and stuff like that, but I wasn't getting my money invested in real estate back to me. So, and also as well, I invested with her in her showcases. You know, I put together a function with very talented, striving actresses, you know, something I'd never done before because I think outside the box. If I have an opportunity that's laid before me and I see that there's potential in it, I'm going to put my heart into it. And I did. I gave her my all. When she said, "You want to do this, Vashti? Are you down?" I came with notebook. I came with my heart, my spirit, my time, everything, you know. And I was there. I showed up. But she didn't show up, you know. And so I got screwed financially. I was in a very bad situation. I helped another person who actually had a clothing company, you know, and didn't have support from family and stuff. And if I see somebody who doesn't have support, because that's one thing I do have is my family, and I'm very appreciative of that, you know. I have people who do believe in me regardless of my circumstance or situation, you know. So when I see somebody who's hurting, I reached out and I was like, "Hey, I see you have a clothing line. You know, you're having a hard time. Tell me what you got going on." So I reached out and helped that person. It didn't come back to me either. So I learned a big lesson in life. I didn't just go shopping and, you know, yeah, I wanted to go shopping. I'm a female, you know. I didn't even get my hair done. My hair's a mess right now, by the way. I work from home, so I don't got to worry about doing my hair and all that stuff throughout the day. But I didn't even go shopping like most women would, you know, like go get your hair done. I did get my nails done and pedicures here and there. But besides that, I felt like I was really investing my money to where it was going to have a return and help me and my child, since I couldn't go bartend anymore. And Wake Up Now had just gone down, you know. And so during that time, his father took that situation for granted and behind my back made plans to have my son live with him and didn't even approach me in a respectable manner, you know. It's not like I was some mom who was smacked out on drugs or drinking and doing crazy stuff, because that's not me, you know. I was actually there, and I have a lot to contribute to my son to help him be a good, fine young man and a contribution to society, you know. It's just I had a downfall with people who screwed me, and because I put myself in that situation, I have to accept responsibility. But so now I was at this situation where I lost everything. I was having hard times. You know, I'm looking at my house and going, how am I going to pay my bills? You know, how am I going to provide for my son? And so my son went and moved with his father. I had about 2 weeks after that to pack all my stuff up, get rid of things, sell, put everything in storage, and figure out what I was going to do. I had 2 dogs, so now my kids are gone, you know. Did I feel sorry for myself? Hell no. Did I, when my son reached out to me and he was worried about me, did I monopolize and take advantage of his concern for me, or did I muster up my strength and say, "Son, I got this. You're not the one to be responsible for what I need to do. You're the child. You don't have to worry about me. Your mama's going to be fine. No matter what happens, just know and trust that I'm going to be okay." You know? And I told him, I appreciate your concern, but you have to take care of you right now. You're where you're at, and I'm sorry. I apologize that I let you down. I love you. It hurts. But just know that I'm going to be okay, all right? And so during that time, I was pretty much living out of my truck for 7 months, you know? I had my dog Blue Bear. I had Princess. And if my dogs can't roll where I go, then I don't go there. You know, I had friends that reached out to me, and I stayed for a little bit here and there, you know, but I don't like to be inconvenience anybody's life. You know, I have 2 dogs. I had a pit bull and a chihuahua. So if you know that breed, and the chihuahua is my daughter's dog. So they don't always get along with other dogs, you know, so I didn't want to compromise any situation, you know. And through that time, I tried to make the best of it. You know why? Because I know my why. That's why. Because I know my why. I'm clear with my why. I'm clear with my determination, my internal passion, desires, and the fire. Everything that's within my soul, my strong soul, I'm clear with that. And through the trenches, I can see the light, you know. The hallways are a bitch. Like I said, the hallways can be a bitch at times, and they get dark, you know. But during those times, you got to learn how to shine. You got to learn how to trust the process and embrace the journey, you know. And I could go on probably for a couple of hours about this whole situation, you know, but I'm not gonna, you know. So during that time, I had to muster within me the strength not to give up, you know. Also during not having a relationship with my son, because now his father's controlling me and keeping him away from me, which I never did to him, ever, by the way. I'm not that type of mom. I don't do that. He lives in fear. He lives in fear. And I think because he knew what he did was underhanded, he knew how he did it wasn't honoring me as our child's mother whatsoever, because I've never kept him from him, you know, even through his hard times. You know, I'm that type where I don't look down on somebody and kick a dog when it's down, you know. The only time you should look down on somebody is if you're trying to help them up. And that's just not his MO. That's not how he rolls, unfortunately, you know. But we had a beautiful son together, you know. And so since he's had him, he's been a wedge, you know. I don't have the relationship that I used to have with my son. And it hurts. It hurts to no end. It hurts to no end. But as much as it hurts, I'm clear with my why, you know. I know that he's one of the reasons why I won't give up, because I'm going to show him. Even though his dad doesn't believe in my entrepreneurial spirit, he doesn't believe. He's like, Vashti, just go get a secretary job. Why don't you just go do this? Why don't you go do that? We'll have carpal tunnel in both arms too. So I have all kinds of stuff going on, you know, from the field that I worked in for years. So am I going to hurt my body more than I already did being a slave to somebody else's dream? And yeah, granted, I did pay for my bills and stuff, so it's stuff that you got to do. You know, I'm not knocking it, but it's just not me. So he doesn't believe in my entrepreneurial spirit. He doesn't believe in that. He doesn't support that. He talks down on it, and I know he does. He tells my son all the time, guaranteed. I know how he is, that, you know, I'm not going to amount to anything, you know. But I'll tell you what, I'm on that path right now. I embrace the greatness within me. I embrace the struggle and who I've become through everything. I'm grateful for and I even told my son, see, this is how we have to accept responsibility. I thanked my son, because I always told him, do you believe in me, son? Like, I know you don't see that any of these companies have worked out for me so far, you know, but in a sense of financial monetary gain, okay? But the way I look at it is I grew as a person. I invested in me first and foremost before I tried to get the money. I was investing in me, doing personal growth and development, you know, working on myself, on my journey to keep building and growing through everything that I was going through, you know. So it's all part of the process. It doesn't matter if I didn't have monetary gains, because that wasn't my main thing, you know. Yeah, that's a it's obviously a beautiful thing if you're gonna make money. You know, we need to, right? Okay, I understand that, but in the same sense, if you're not growing as a person, it's only temporary, you know. So I was watering my soul, watering my head, nurturing myself so that I could be the person that I am today, so that I can inspire others and show them that no matter what you go through, you know, there's going to be times where you're going to feel like you're going to give up, you know. People would tell me, my friends would tell me, Vashti, you're basically living out of your truck. You know, I go camping. I drove to the East Coast for a freaking job. You know, the longest drive I ever took for a job was to go to the East Coast for Dish Network to do door-to-door, you know. But what they portrayed as the situation for me to get there was not what it was when I got there, and I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle, you know. It was a whole bunch of college kids that didn't know what they were doing with no management within their system there. And I didn't go there just to play around, you know. I went there to make some money. And so I took that opportunity, which was a beautiful thing and a beautiful road trip, because Blue Bear passed away shortly after that. So that was time I had with my dog, you know. That's memories that were created. I saw beautiful places from here all the way to almost New York, you know, in my truck with me and my dogs. Sometimes I slept in rest stops, you know. I slept in my truck in places. And did I allow that to break my spirit? Hell no. No. Can't break my spirit. My stride was broken, but my spirit cannot be broken, you know? And so, fast forward, coming back over here, we were already dealing with a situation with my mom. You know, my mom's been sick for a while. You know, she has cancer, stage 4. And that's a whole nother tangent I could get off on, you know, and speak more of and more on the journey that we've been through in this, you know, coming to acceptance that it's her choice with where she's at, you know. It's hard to watch your loved one on a daily not thrive health-wise, you know. She's a phenomenal woman. I love her so much. She was the epitome of health before. Ate healthy, holistic massage therapist practitioner, you know, for years. And I've watched her health decline. And it's hard to stay positive on a daily situation, to know that somebody who's usually in this industry, my right-hand chica, you know, she's usually the one that is so positive and so excited to share things with people, you know. And I know that since I've been involved in Volishon, this energy in this household has changed, you know. She's lifted up by it, you know. I feel it. But I also feel her sadness. I feel her despair. I feel everything. I'm sensitive, you know. And But my point in this, I guess, and I'm sorry if I ramble on, it just happens, you know. Anybody who talks to me knows that about me. I get passionate and go off on tangents. So my point is, get clear with your why. Because no matter what happens in your life, if you're clear, crystal clear with your why, what drives you inside, what ignites your passion, your fire, what inspires you, if you're clear with your why, what hurts you, nothing can take you down. Nothing's going to detour your greatness. Nothing can stop the prosperity of what's transpiring in your life. Just like all the negative people, just like my ex's, my son's father, he can't stop the greatness that is laid out in my path. He can't stop the phenomenal people who I'm grateful and very blessed to be working with here in Volishon. There is so many things going on right now that with everything going on, that no matter what anybody's opinion is, if you are clear with your why and you raise your frequency, you raise your energy, your levels, you will attract more of that into your life. So don't focus on the negativity. I didn't focus on the negativity. I didn't focus on trying to feel sorry for myself when I was homeless, you know, living out of my truck. I didn't focus on that, you know. I was, like I said, long-term visionary. I saw through the bullshit, you know. I know my potential. I know that my certain situation and circumstance is only temporary, because I make a choice to be accountable and also to embrace that it's just temporary and anything can change just like that, you know? But it's my choice. I could have chose to, you know, feel sorry for myself and go hit the bottle and or whatever other thing that's going to be detrimental to my health, my life, and make my children be like, not even ever look up to me, you know, like look down on me. And that's not something I want, you know. They're going to look up to me and be like, wow, mom went through that and she still dominated and she still made stuff happen. And she now is so driven and surrounding herself with people who are on the same mission and path in life, who are entrepreneurial spirits, who do not allow the monotony of the system and what they try to think is the only way that we can survive and thrive in life to be the only way for us to make a difference in people's lives, to, you know, on many levels. You know, my son, I already told him, had a conversation with him, and I thanked him. I said, you know, I'm even grateful for the experience, son, even though it's hard. And it was emotional when I told him this, you know, but I'm like, I appreciate you because you never gave up on me. Every time I asked you, do you believe in me? He said, yes, Mom, I do. And I said, do you understand that you're one of my whys? He said, yes, I do. I said, what does it mean? He said, what drives you? I said, you know what? I love, absolutely love that you get that. You understand that, you know? So no matter the brainwashing he's getting right now, no matter, my results are going to trump it because I'm here. I'm here and I'm doing what needs to be done. I'm making a difference. You know, I'm working with phenomenal people, Dolly Thrasher, Marco Ruziani, Kristen Mingus, Joel Andrade, you know, I mean, Ramon Leatherby, Joel Santiago, Yuli Santiago, Joseph D.W. Otis, Dwayne Parsons, Kimberly. I mean, so many phenomenal people, Kiera Minor, Shantae, you know, I'm sorry if I left anybody's names out, but I got love for all you guys, you know, and I'm appreciative for what we're creating here, for how we're working together. And I'm so proud of everybody who is growing as a person through this, you know. We have an opportunity and an option to grow through this and help our families, to change our circumstance and our situation, and through a synergy with all of us together, you know. Benjamin Gardner, shout out to you, you know. Team GI over in Florida, you know. All you youngsters inspire me, you know. Everybody who's doing something and making a difference and not just settling for the monotony, you know. And I'm not putting down jobs. Don't get it twisted. I'm not, you know. I just don't choose to live the 40-40-40 plan. I'm not going to be stuck in that for the rest of my life so that by the time I'm 65 and become a Walmart greeter, no thank you. Social Security isn't going to be here for me or my children. So because I'm not going to help perpetuate that system within my children, I'm going to inspire them to reach higher and not be a part of that slave-driven system, you know, to be their own boss, you know, to be their entrepreneur self, like whatever it be. Whether my daughter's an artist, she's phenomenal, you know. I don't want her to lose that amongst the monotony of life, you know. It would be a waste to see her natural talent go to waste. I love her natural artistic ability, you know. My son, he has an inventor's mind, you know. It's and in society, people's passions in life get lost in the monotony of the 9 to 5. It's just true. It is, you know. But I'm not one of them. I'm just not going to let it happen anymore. And my blessing came to me through my hurt arm, you know. So I no longer can do the hustle that I was used to, where I was making good money, you know. So bottom line, family, friends, everybody on Facebook, get clear with your why. Don't allow your certain situation and circumstance to be your future. You have a chance to change it, you know. And if anybody wants to know what Volishon is about, reach out to me. You know, I'm here. We add value, you know. We help enrich people's lives. And we're just starting. And so you can either be a part of it and grow with us, or you can watch us all grow. You know, it's awesome. Regardless, you know, I'm grateful. I'm blessed to be in this situation. And peace out. Thank you very much. Have a great day.